Hi there, you're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now with me Shreyansi Singh and Srishti Sharma, and over the next 1 hour we'll get all of your stock related queries answered from both a technical as well as fundamental perspective, and lots to cover on the show today aside from all of our queries. But you know, when you take a look at the Nifty, we're looking at a tinge of green coming in, and across sectors that is also something that we're looking at.
Well, certainly, Shreyansi, a good day coming in for the markets after the last week sell-off that we have witnessed, and even Monday wasn't that great, but definitely Tuesday did have some good surprises for all of us. And indeed, look at the move in Nifty 50 trading very close to its day's high as well. And if we look at the move in the bank Nifty, more than 500 points of gain is what we are seeing on that particular index, scaling past that 51,000 mark as well. Lots to watch out for, that whether are we able to hold on to this particular recovery in the second half or not, because the markets have turned really volatile. And the key to note is the movement or the kind of correction that we are witnessing in India Wix, which is now trading in red with a cuts of almost 1%. If we talk about some of the sectors that are doing great today, then it's a mixed bag definitely, because it's the auto pack, the energy basket that is seen to be shining bright. The top gainer is definitely M&M on the back of the upgrade coming in from CLSA. The stock is flying high, more than 2% of the gains right now. A couple of Adani group of counters which have seen a good sell-off in the recent while have seen a good rebound. Names like Adani Ports as well as Adani Enterprise are making into the top list of Nifty gainers today. Other than that, from the pharma pack, we have Divi's Lab as well as stocks like Glenmark Pharma that are doing pretty well today. And apart from that, from within the banking space, it's the heavyweight HDFC Bank that is lending all of its support. Almost 2% of the gain is coming in on that particular stock. But on the flip side, after the kind of holiday season, we have seen China reopening, but that's not giving much of a momentum for the metal counters, and especially in the Indian metal pack. If we see, the metal index is down about 2%, and all the top losers in Nifty 50 today, be it Tata Steel, JSW Steel, Hindalco, they are seeing good cuts in today's trading session. Apart from that, Tata Motors is also seen to be declining after we have seen the JLR Q2 updates coming in, where though the outlook is seen to be on the positive side, but the overall wholesales data was seen to be a little drag on a quarter-on-quarter basis as well as on a YOY basis. There was indeed a decline, and that stock is also down 1.5%. If we talk about the breadth of the market, that is clearly tilted in the favor of the gainers as of now. And from the broader market space, there are a lot of pockets that are seeing good gains. Stocks like Trent, RAC, PFC, they are holding on to good gains. Even Indian Hotels is seen to be holding gains of almost 4%. On the flip side, what I can spot is just the metal pack that is seen to be under pressure. Even Titan is also down about 1.5% in trade right now. So not much to complain about. But one of the key highlights for today is indeed the kind of the battle of the states that we are witnessing, with the numbers coming in after the elections from Haryana as well as Jammu and Kashmir, where BJP is seen to be taking the lead. And indeed, this is also one of the triggers for the up move in the market, that is believed so. So on the back of all of this, it's a good day coming in for the benchmark indices. But I'm sure, Shreyansi, there's a lot of stocks queries that are already pouring in, because our viewers were a little disheartened with the kind of market sell-off, but some cheer must be back for them as well.
Well, absolutely. That is something that we're penciling in at this point. And when you take a look at the tally on the top of your screens, of course, the National Conference as well as Congress Alliance, that has taken a lead in Jammu and Kashmir, and that is what you're looking at when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. When you take a look at some of the candidates who are also leading, you do have National Conference Vice President Omar Abdullah, who's also leading on both the seats. AICC General Secretary Ghulam Ahmed Mir as well, also leading. So some of those polls, some of those candidates and their performance is going to be something that we're going to be very closely watching out for. But let's kickstart taking all of your stock related queries then, and we do have Sneha Seth, Senior Analyst, Technical and Derivatives at Angel One, joining us today. And let's take this first query across to us. Sneha, thank you so much for joining us today. The first query that we have is coming in on GAIL. We do have Nikhil Sharma who's writing to us from Mumbai, and he has 83 shares of GAIL at a buy price of 240 rupees. What do you think he should do? And he also has Tata Power, 40 shares at a buy price of 488. What is your view coming in on GAIL as well as Tata Power?
See, in case of GAIL, I believe the counter has, seen some profit taking, but again, it is, trading, taking the support near the 89 EMA on the daily chart. And I believe, looking at the overall chart structure, I don't think there is any sign of worry. In fact, this dips can be used to, go long in this counter specifically. So if anyone is holding GAIL, I think one should hold it. Any move above 234, 235 would be interesting, and then this counter may attract some fresh momentum coming in. So at this point in time, the upside level to watch out will be 234. Any move above that, then you may see an counter at least moving towards 245 to 50 odd zone. The next counter which was discussed was startup power. I think this counter has again given a smart recovery today, nearly up by 4%. Looking at the overall chart structure, we have seen some consolidation, but again, any dips are being bought into. Counter has again rebounded from the 89 EMA on the daily chart. I think this moment, this any move, at least we can expect this up move to continue at least towards 477, 488, 480 odd zone. Any move beyond this would be very interesting for this counter. So I believe both the counters can be, can be kept as a whole. There is no as such thing to be worried of. So it's a whole counter for me.
That's a hold coming in on both of these names actually. But moving on to the next one, a very good morning to you, Sneha. The next query that I have is coming in from Anil from Jalandhar, and he says that he recently bought Canra Bank 30,000 shares and his buy price is 109 rupees. He actually is looking for a short-term view in this particular stock, and he also has BEL purchased 25,000 shares at a price of 220 rupees. What's your long-term view maybe for the next 3 years on this particular stock, Sneha?
For like 3 years would be too long to give a view. But yes, if you look at the overall chart structure for Canara Bank recently, we have seen some profit taking. Again, the counter has been consolidating, wherein on the higher side, the resistance is around 100, 113, 114. On the lower side, support is around 100. So I believe this is the range, and the probability of this counter trading in the range is quite high. So I believe unless and until we don't see an up move above 113, 114 levels, the counter, may consolidate in this range only. So one need to keep a close watch on the levels which I mentioned. Any correction below 100 won't be good for this counter. We may see some follow-up selling, and on the higher side, any move above 114 would be interesting to watch out. So with a strict stop loss of 100, now one can hold this counter. Overall, I don't think that there is a major, thing. But yes, in case of any further selling in Nifty below the support zone of 24,700, this counter is likely to, breach its support even. So one need to keep a close watch. And for a 3 years time frame, I believe this counter should, at least you can think of averaging at the lower levels. So overall, the chart is good. There is no sign of concern. Only in case of any major selling coming in, then possibly there will be some selling pressure. The second counter which we discussed, which I think it's BEL. Again, this counter has given a decent, profit taking, and I think from here on, maybe we may see some follow-up selling at least towards 250, 255 odd zone. So looking at the overall chart structure, I believe there is a resistance immediately around 285. So in case of any bounce back towards 285 to 84, one should, think of exiting the long positions. And in case of any correction below this yesterday's low, that is 265, there are possibilities this counter may at least head towards 250 odds. So I would say that exit around 280 to 85. So.
All right, so there you go. That's the take coming in when it comes to Canara Bank as well as Bharat Electronics. But time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll continue taking all of your stock-related queries and get you the latest updates when it comes to the battle of states, that is Haryana as well as Jammu and Kashmir. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now. Let's keep it going with all your stock related queries. Then we do have Sneha with us, but with this, let's also welcome on board Ashish Kyal, who is the founder and CEO at Wave Strategy Advisors, and he's also joining us to guide us on the technical front. Very good morning to you, Ashish, as well, and let's keep it going with all the stock related queries that we already have. And the next query that I have is coming in on Varun Beverages. Ashish, help us with your take on Varun Beverages, because Sandeep is holding 110 shares and his buy price is 600 rupees. How do you see the technical setup of this particular stock?
See, if you look at Varun Beverages, I think the stock is up by nearly more than 8% in today's session, and it's approaching towards its cost price. So the overall trend remains positive as of now. Having said that, the low which is formed of yesterday is going to be a very important support. So I would advise to keep a stop loss of 538 and expecting a target of around 625, 630 levels. So at around 630, one can book partial profit for short-term perspective. But if the view is medium to long term, then I think the stock can even move beyond 700 levels. So the overall tone for Varun Beverages is positive as long as today's low remains intact.
That's the take coming in as far as Varun Beverages is concerned. The next query that we have is coming in from Badri from Bengaluru. And I'm going to come to you, Sneha, because he's writing to us about CDSL and he has 25 shares at a buy price of 1,445 rupees. What is really the outlook when it comes to this stock then?
See, recently we have seen a decent selling pressure coming in. There is one support around 1348 or so, which is very nearby. So in case of any correction below, I think 1348, 1347 would not be an, there can be a chances that this counter may correct further. So I would suggest that at this point in time, looking at the overall chart structure, the probability of this counter heading towards 1280, 1285 is more. So in case anyone is holding any longs with a strict stop loss of 1280, one can stay long. In case of any correction below this, I would say just exit it. That would be better. And in case of any bounce back from here on, it is very important that this counter at least can head towards 1420, 1400 levels. So in that case, one should review this counter. In case the overall chart structure remains strong, then one should go ahead and continue to hold. Otherwise, one should book profits around 1400, 1420 also.
Right, that's the take coming in on CDSL. But the next query that I have, Ashish, is coming in on Power Grid. This query is from Sudhir from Hyderabad, and he wants to know, can he go ahead and buy Power Grid at current market price and also keep it for the next 3 months, and any targets to look out for?
Look at Power Grid, there is a very important support from where the stock is showing some kind of a bouncing back is around 324, 320 levels. So one can initiate long positions at this level around 320 because it's like a triple bottom, but there is no confirmation yet. So the buying is going to be a little risky, but as long as risk appetite is there, buy at this level, keep 320 as a stop loss, and then aim for the target on the upside, which is going to be around 360, 363 levels. That can be done. And if 320 breaks, it's better to be out of the stock because the multi-month support level will be then broken on a closing basis. So 320 is the stop loss. Buy at CMP and expecting a target of 360 levels.
Right, so that's the take coming in for Power Grid. Let's also take a look at the next query that is coming in from Madhukar from Hyderabad. Sneha, I'm going to come to you because they're writing to us about Happiest Minds, bought about 100 shares at the IPO level, but it's been languishing and that's what they are incurring heavy losses at this point. So is it better to book all of that or shift to some other stock? What is your take coming in there?
Yeah, I think overall chart structure, we are seeing more of consolidation over here. On the downside, I believe there is a good support zone placed around 750, 745 odd zone. So I think someone who's holding this counter within with the IPO rates, I think one can hold this and any move at least about 830, 835 would trigger some momentum. So I think there is no harm in holding with a strict stop loss of 750 for now. And on the higher side, as I said, any move at least towards 830, 820 would be interesting, and that is possible. Any move above this would be very interesting for this counter and would change the overall chart structure. So for now, with a strict stop loss of 750 hold, upside first target would be around 830. If it manages to surpass that and the chart structure looks good, there are possibility that it can head at least towards 880, 890 odd zone even. So I would suggest holding this counter.
All right, that's a hold coming in on Happiest Mind. But Sneha, share your take on Cochin Shipyard as well, one of the beaten down names. And Binay is holding the 300 shares and his buy price is around 1200 rupees. Good part is that he was also holding some most quantity of this particular stock, but he has sold off around 300 shares at a higher levels, but still having the rest in his portfolio. So what to do with this share, Sneha, and what's the outlook going ahead?
If we look at the overall chart structure today, this counter is precisely, recovering from the 200 simple moving average on the daily chart, which is a positive thing. So I believe if someone is holding this counter with a strict stop loss of like 1500, one should maintain a long position. Any correction below this, below 1500, then you should be exiting this trade. Otherwise, I believe the kind of short covering move today we are seeing, that is interesting. This can at least bring this counter towards 1720, 1730 odd zone at the first level. And in case of any like overall the correction what we have seen, if it manages to at least go towards 1700, it would be very interesting for this counter. And the short term whatever pain was there in this counter, that is likely to get over. So I think one should maintain a long call with a strict stop loss of 1500 in this case.
Alright, so should be able to put short-term pain behind them is the word coming in from Sneha on Cochin Shipyard. I'm going to move on to the next one that is coming in from Nishi from Bangalore, and she's writing to us about Bharat Dynamics, Ashish. She has 180 shares at a buy price of 819. What is your take coming in on Bharat Dynamics then?
See, first of all, the buy price is very decent, 819, and the stock is currently at 1139, despite of all the corrections that we have seen in the stock over the past few months, rather. I would suggest that continue to hold, maintain a stop loss of 1032. That's the recent low that the stock has made. And if that is broken, then maybe more pain is left. And on the upside, the hurdle for the stock is going to be around 1180 levels. So if 1180 is broken on the upside, we can start seeing a good positive move, which can take the stock back towards the level of 1500. So continue to hold on to the stock. There is a important average placed at around 1180. If that is broken, then 1500 is the target one can aim for, and maintain the stop loss of 1030 on the downside.
All right, then moving on to the next query, and this one is on a banking name, that is IndusInd Bank. And Sneha, what's your take on IndusInd Bank? Because Siva has purchased the share at a price of 1464 rupees, wants a short to medium term view and any targets to look out for. And Sneha, he also wants your take on TCS, bought the shares at a price of 4435 rupees.
So overall, if you look at IndusInd Bank, this counter recently has been consolidating. I believe there is a very strong support zone which is placed around 1330, 1325 odd zone. So if someone is holding any long position for a short-term trade even, so I believe that should be the strict stop loss. So with a strict stop loss of 1330, one can hold on to the long position. In case of any move beyond 1410, it would be very interesting. So at this point in time, the target is around 1410, and the stop loss can be maintained around 1330. The next counter, that is TCS, I think in this again, there is a consolidation, but this consolidation is near the 89 EMA. We all know that we have a result coming in. So, and looking at the options activity today, when I was checking the options data, we are seeing some writing on the call options, but I believe any move at least above 4,300 would be very interesting. So with a strict stop loss of today's low, one can hold this counter, that is around 4,200 should be the stop loss. Any move towards 4,300 and above would be very interesting. So for now, with a strict stop loss, what I've mentioned, it's a hold. And I believe if someone wants to go ahead and long, wait for a couple of days, and any move above 4,300 would be a very good thing to even go long if someone wants to go ahead and take a fresh bet in this counter.
All right, so there you go. That's the take coming in as far as TCS and IndusInd Bank are concerned. But time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll continue taking all of your stock-related queries, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Well, let's take a look at the other queries that we have, and let's continue taking all of your stock-related queries. We do have Nitin who's writing to us from Maharashtra. Ashish, I'm going to come to you because he's writing to us about Gulf Oil as well as Hindalco, and he also wants to know about Scient. He wants to know if this is a good price to enter all of these three counters: Gulf Oil, Hindalco, as well as Scient.
Hindalco, we can clearly see the metal space has been an outperformer over past many weeks, and we saw some profit booking yesterday and today, but that should be the opportunity to buy Hindalco again. I am optimistic about the metal space as a whole, and we can clearly see that if you look at the Chinese market, if you look at Indian, these stocks and sector has been outperforming. So Hindalco can reach towards the target on the upside, which is going to be around 800 levels over short term. So one can maintain long positions in Hindalco. And on the downside, maintain a stop loss of around 706 levels. As far as Gulf Oil is concerned, we can clearly see some kind of a profit booking is happening at in that stock. But over short term, one can maintain the stop loss of around the levels of 1228. And if I'm seeing it correctly, it's currently trading at around 1288 levels. So 1228 can be the stop loss for Gulf Oil. And on the upside, we can expect the target of around 1400 levels for this stock. And the third stock, sorry, I missed out. Which one was the third stock?
Scient, Ashish.
So if you look at Scient, overall the technology stocks have been moving in a lackluster fashion. It has been consolidating for quite some time, and I think Scient as a whole is also consolidating since about the beginning of the year itself. It has been almost a year and the correction has been ongoing. I think it's going to be, it's overdue for the IT stocks to rally. The sector has to reverse back on the upside. And along with that, Scient should outperform. Just as a disclaimer, we do hold Scient as well. So the overall outlook is going to be bullish for Scient. We can expect a target of 2,200 over short term, short to medium term. And if one can hold for the long term, we can also see a rounding bottom kind of a pattern. And if that is broken out, we can expect it to move towards even 2,800 levels. So the overall outlook for Scient is bullish, but one has to be patient enough, keep the time horizon for at least more than a year, and buy the stock.
Then moving on to the next query, and the next query, Ashish, is coming in on ACC, wherein RC Sharma from Jaipur is holding 100 shares and his buy price is 2,700 rupees. Can he hold for the next 6 months as well, Ashish? And would you advise to add at these levels? ACC is the stock. Ashish, what's your take on this one?
See, ACC, if you look at it, the stock topped out around 2024 February. And since then, it has been not able to break that 2750 levels on the upside. The support for the stock is around 2250. It's just trading within the range which we saw on 4th of June crash. So that's the range it created, and it's trading within that range. Having said that, I think one can continue to hold the stock here and maybe add more and average out to some extent. As long as on the downside, the support of around 2250 remains intact. So use 2250 as a support, accumulate the stock, and eventually we can expect it to move back towards the upper end of the range, which is 2750. And if the same is broken, we can expect it to even move towards 3000 or higher levels. So the overall outlook is positive, expecting a reversal trade over here and maintain the stop loss.
So there you go. That's the take coming in as far as ACC is concerned. Sneha, I'm going to come to you because Anirudh is writing to us from Bangalore and he wants to know about HCL Tech. What is your take coming in when it comes to this counter?
Overall, I believe this counter has been doing quite good. This counter had, it is continuously trading above the 20 DEMA, although yesterday it has slightly gone down, but still the overall chart structure is quite good. At now, the immediate support has around 1710. So if someone is holding this counter for a short-term trade even, so should maintain a stop loss around 1710 and can hold this counter. Upside potential target would be 1810 will be the first level. In case of any move above that, we may see this counter heading towards fresh record highs even.
That's the day coming in on HCL Tech. Other than that, the next query that I have, Ashish, is on HDFC Life. Viewer named Sudarshan has bought 710 rupees call option of HDFC Life, though he didn't share his buy price. But good to hold on this particular stock and this particular call option, Ashish. And can you advise like what to do in this particular, given that it's almost like a month since we can see the expiry?
See, if you look at options, I would suggest that it's always better to have some strategy in place in this kind of a market, especially. And when you are seeing such a sharp fall and the volatility is increasing in the broader market, and the option is any which ways right now out of the money, it's always preferred to buy in the money options so that the deterioration is less. But having said that, since the expiry is almost a month away, it's still okay to hold on to the stock, but maintain a strict stop loss. I would suggest a stop loss to be maintained with respect to the option price directly, but since I don't know the strike price, you can maintain a stop loss with respect to the spot, which is around 696. So if HDFC Life breaks 696, it's better to be out of the call option. And also, if you can create some kind of a spread by forming bull call spread kind of a strategy since you are long on the option, you can sell out of the money option of around 730, so that at least your risk is limited and you will not be having a big hit of the volatility or of the theta. So maintain as of now, maintain a stop loss of 696 and look forward to sell 730 call option to create the hedge.
There you go. That's a take coming in as far as HDFC Life call option is concerned. Moving on, then we also have Venu who's writing to us from Chennai, Sneha, and he wants to take on a couple of those counters, Escorts Kubota as well as Deepak Nitrite. He wants to know if this is the right time to buy those counters. What is your take coming in here?
In case of Escort, I believe the kind of selling we have seen and the counter, recovering today, it is up nearly 1%, and it is recovering from the support zone of 89 EMA on the daily chart. I believe if someone wants to go ahead and long this counter, can do so and can maintain a strict stop loss of around 3,797, and the target can be expected at least around 4,050. Apart from this, the second counter would be
Deepak Nitrite as well as Escorts Kubota.
Deepak Nitrite, again, this counter has consolidated, trading near the support zone itself, and the overall chart structure is quite good in the weekly chart as well, and on the daily chart it is trading near the support zone. So I think one can, if someone wants to go ahead and long, they can do so with a strict stop loss of 2,750, and the target on the higher side would be around at least towards 2,870-75 zone can be expected. So with a strict stop loss of today's low, which is placed around 2,750, one can go long.
All right, then that's the take coming in on both of these names. But Ashish, the next query is coming from Sudha Rani, writing to us from Hyderabad, and she's holding 40 shares of Glenmark Life Sciences, and she's bought the shares at a price of 874 rupees. Ashish, she's already sitting at decent profits, but good to go ahead and book some profits out or continue to hold on.
The overall pharma space has just started outperforming. I would suggest that, and Glenmark license, she's making decent enough profit. I would recommend to hold on to the stock even now, because if you look at the weekly charts and the overall secular bull trend is ongoing, and any kind of profit booking is short-lived. I think the stock, after making a low of around 1,020, again bounced back sharply on the upside. So the overall tone for Glenmark Life Science is positive. Continue to hold on to the stock. I'm optimistic and expecting a target of around 1,500 levels on the upside, and you can maintain a stop loss of around 1,020 on the downside.
So we also have Vignesh who's writing to us from Bangalore, Sneha, and he has 120 shares of Natco Farmer, bought at a price of 1,545. What is your take when Natco Farmer is concerned then?
The overall chart structure, again, this counter has corrected. Yesterday we saw some respite in this counter, and it is maintaining it, on the higher side, though we haven't seen any major price action today. But I believe with a strict stop loss of 1,350, one can go ahead and, can hold this counter. Any move beyond 1,440 wouldn't be interesting. So in case of any move beyond 1,440, there are possibilities this counter, can at least head towards 1,520, 1,530 odd levels. So someone who's holding a long position already should maintain a strict stop loss around 1,350 and hold it.
All right, the next query that I have, Ashish, is on two stocks, and this query is written to us from Venkat Ramani from Bangalore, and he is holding Reliance Industries from a price of 2,850 rupees, and he also has Bharat Forge close to 500 shares, and his buy price is 1,520 rupees. What to do in both of these names, Ashish, since he is at some bit of a loss in both of these names? So would you advise to go ahead and add more at current market price, or simply continue to hold on, or would you also advise to like book out or move out in any of these names?
See, if you look at Reliance and Bharat Forge, both of those stocks have shown sharp correction. In fact, Reliance has been the major reason why the index showed such a sharp move on the downside over past few days. We can clearly see the stock move from around 3,000 levels and now to 2770 in just 3 days or 4 days of time. So the overall tone for Reliance over short term is bearish. I would suggest that if you can increase his time horizon to at least 6 months or more, then continue to hold on to Reliance. On the downside, if for short term he wants to know, then the support for Reliance is going to be around 2720. So as long as 2720 is intact, hold on to the stock. If that is broken, then from short term trading perspective, exit from the stock. And on the upside, the hurdle for Reliance as per the price action is going to be around 2890. So 2890 is the hurdle which can be the target over short term, and maintain the stop loss of 2720. As far as Bharat Forge is concerned, if you look at Bharat Forge, it has broken below the previous support of 1555 as well, and is trading lower. So my recommendation would be maintain a strict stop loss of 1424 right now, which is near the day's low. And if that is broken, it's better to be out. But if that remains protected, continue to ride using a trailing stop loss method. And on the upside, 1540 is the hurdle for the stock. So maintain the stop loss and ride for the targets, but if stop gets triggered, then get out.
All right, so that's the take as far as Bharat Forge is concerned, but let's also take a very quick look at the tally on the side of your screens as well, because when you take a look at what is happening with regard to the Julana constituency, you do have Vinesh Fogart, who's currently leading after 6 rounds. Mind you, she was trailing behind with a tally of roughly about 29,000 votes, but that trend has reversed, and currently Vinesh Fogart is the one who's leading right now. You do have Congress candidate Bhupendra Singh Hooda also, who's also surged ahead with an impressive tally. And you do know that he's also the one who's surging ahead with that particular impressive tally, leading as of now. And you do have Iltija Mufti, who's also tweeted about the fact that she's trailing at this point, PDP candidate Iltija Mufti. Of course, on your screens, you do see that verdict. As of now, BJP has 50 seats that they've managed to lock in Haryana, and that is the kind of tally that you're looking at when Haryana is concerned. And when you take a look at Jammu and Kashmir also, what you're taking a look at is a very interesting NC as well as Congress alliance that is just sort of trailing, leading ahead with all of that. But with that, let's also slip into a very short break. When we come back, we'll continue taking all of your stock-related queries.
Welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now, and let's keep it going with all your stock-related queries. Then, and the next query that I have, Ashish is coming in from Bhagwan. He's written to us on a lot of stock queries, but let me just pick up two of them. One of them is ONGC. He's bought 200 shares. His buy price is 331 rupees. Ashish, what to do in this one? And he also has Vedanta, 100 quantity at a price of 467 rupees. What's the outlook in both of these names, Ashish?
See, if you look at ONGC and Vedanta, both of the stock has showing some kind of a profit booking. We can see that. And let me first talk about ONGC. If you look at ONGC, we can see that the stock has corrected sharply from the levels of around 340, 350 on the upside, and has formed a low near 281. Now, 281 is the level from where we can see multiple times it has managed to bounce back. Even today, the low was around that 280, 281 mark. So that becomes a very important support zone. So maintain a stop loss at 280 for ONGC. On the upside, the stock has to break about that 300 mark. There has been a multiple hurdle. So it's forming a consolidation between the level of 300 and 280 is what I can see. If it manages to break above 300, then we can expect some kind of a move towards 320 levels. So maintain a stop loss of 280 on the downside for the holdings. and closely look at 300 levels if that is taken out. As far as Vedanta is concerned, we can see some profit booking over past 3-4 days, but the stock is outperforming. As I said earlier, also the space, the sector, the metal sector has been an outperformer, and we can expect the stock to reach towards the level of 540. Continue to hold on Vedanta over here. On the downside, maintain a stop loss of around 478, and as long as 478 is intact, aim for 540 on the stock.
So that's the take coming in as far as Vedanta and ONGC are concerned. But Sneha, I'm going to come to you because we do have Suresh who's writing to us from Hyderabad. He wants to know about Indigo, 20 shares at a buy price of 4,780. What would be your take when it comes to this counter then?
See, overall, looking at the chart structure, we have seen some profit taking. But again, this counter has continuously been respecting the 20 demo on the weekly chart. And today also, I think it is precisely recovering from the same. So I believe if someone is holding any long position, should maintain a strict stop loss of around 4,420 and can hold this counter. The first target would be around at least 4,740. And if it heads beyond that, then possibility that we can head at least towards 4,950 even.
All right, the next query that I have, Sneha is coming in on NBCC as well as IIFL Finance. Ramesh from Coimbatore has bought 1,000 shares of NBCC. His buy price is 183 rupees. And he also has 300 shares of IIFL Finance from a price of 535 rupees. How do you see the movement in both of these names, Sneha? For IIFL Finance, he is at a loss, but would you advise to continue to hold on?
So if we look at the chart structure for firstly NBCC, this counter has been consolidating. So no major price action of late. I believe there is a support zone placed around 109, 108 odd zone. And on the higher side, there is a resistance placed around 120. So this is the range for consolidation, though we have seen this counter correcting at least towards 101 on 3rd of October. So I believe on the closing basis, there is a support around 107, and on the higher side, 120 is the level to watch out. Any move beyond this would be interesting, and we may see some fresh buying in coming in. Otherwise, there are chances that this counter may consolidate. But with a strict stop loss of 107 on a closing basis, you can hold this counter. The next counter, which is IIFL Finance, this counter again, this has been correcting, but overall, I believe it may slide little further downside, but one can maintain a strict stop loss around 395, 397. So this is the very strong support zone for this counter. On the daily chart, on the weekly chart, if we look at the overall chart structure, there is a trend line resist support which is placed around 430 odd zone. So I believe with a strict stop loss of 430 for a very short term trade, one can maintain a long. On the upside, any move beyond 480 would be interesting. And in case of any move beyond this, we may see this counter heading towards 1530, 1540 odd zone. So one can hold their long position with a strict stop loss of 430 here in this case.
All right, and with that, we're completely out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ashish, as well as Sneha. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining us and answering all of those stock-related queries. But with that, we're completely out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. From me, Shreyanshi Singh, Srishti Sharma, as well as the entire team that put this show together, thank you so much for tuning in. You don't go anywhere because the markets at noon will take all of the action forward.
घर का खाना होता है जैसे आप
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits. And then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.